Hey there, friends, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things Kajabi, marketing, and growing your online business. My name is Rebecca Austin. I'm a Kajabi mentor and conversion coach, and today we're diving into one of Kajabi's newest and most exciting features, and that is A/B split testing for landing pages. Now, this feature is a game changer for optimizing your conversions and maximizing your results. And why? Because sometimes we're not sure what parts of your landing page are resonating more with your audience. And this gives us an opportunity to seamlessly be able to drive traffic to your A/B split test and let the system do the work on dividing the traffic into two different landing pages so that you can look at the analytics and figure out which landing page is performing better. So let's jump on in. First of all, A/B split testing is one of the most effective ways to find out what works best for your audience. So whether you're testing headlines, maybe you might be changing your images around or even trying different calls to action, like different colors of the button or the way that you word the button itself, this feature lets you experiment and learn from real-world data. That way you're no longer guessing, just actionable insights to improve your landing pages and boost your enrollments. The goal of A/B split testing is to give us the information we need on what works the best. So let's talk about strategy first, and then I'll jump into showing you this feature and how to do it inside Kajabi specifically. Because if you understand the objectives and the philosophy and the strategies behind A/B split testing, it might help you a little bit more in whether or not you want to implement this feature, when you want to implement this feature, and then we'll jump into the how. Okay, so first off, number one, you want to define clear objectives if you're doing A/B split testing. So what does that mean? That means start with a clear goal. Are you trying to get more signups? Are you looking for more purchases? Are you looking for more opt-ins, more clicks? Define what success looks like before you start running your test. And this is important because in Kajabi, when we set this up, we need to tell the system what specifically we want to be measuring on which landing page basically beats out the other one. Number two, we want to develop data-driven hypotheses. So what do I mean by that? Well, essentially, you want to use what you already know about your audience. For example, if your call to action isn't getting clicks, you might hypothesize that changing the wording or placement might improve results. So we want to think about what are some things that we want to test and change between the two different pages. Third is to prioritize high impact elements. So that means testing the things that matter most. So that would be things like your headline, top of the mind images or above the fold images, form design. These are the elements your visitors interact with the most. So those are the things that we want to look at when we are changing things on our split test. Fourth is test one variable at a time. Now, this is a big one because we tend to want to go crazy when we start doing split testing and have completely different landing pages. But the problem there is to know what's working. If you're changing more than one thing at a time and you're testing multiple elements, you won't know which change made the difference. So that can really slow you down in figuring out what's working and what's not. Fifth is to segment your audience. So remember, your audience isn't one size fits all. So look at how different segments like mobile versus desktop users respond to your test. So it's all a part of the analytics. And we talk about this in another video, but it's a big piece that I do touch on and that I'd like to point out here. When we're doing A/B split testing, we are dividing out, the system itself is dividing out people who go to a specific URL will be just the system automatically takes them from either one page to the other. And then we look at the data to see which one is performing better. But if you aren't being strategic in your marketing and you're trying to market to too wide a niche, then it also means that even if you're using A/B split testing, you may not necessarily be resonating on a deep enough level with your audience. So another thing to consider outside of just A/B split testing is have separate sales pages for each different primary audience that you are selling to. So what I mean by that is if you have an audience that you know is primarily female, then the wording might be a little different if you're marketing to an audience that is primarily male, or different age groups, or different interest levels, or different pain points. Those are the big ones that we use a lot, is different pain points. So if you're focusing on a different pain and a situation that your audience is facing, we may want to address different pain points with our marketing efforts and send them to different landing pages, different sales pages that really go deep into that particular pain or problem and how your program solves it. A/B split testing is completely different. This is just using aesthetics and headlines and buttons and copy and layout and things like that for the same target audience, this similar messaging. So it's important to consider that differentiation. The sixth thing that we want to pay attention to is ensure statistical significance. So that means run your test long enough to gather enough data. Oftentimes when we do A/B split testing, it's easy to stop too early, and that can lead to inaccurate conclusions. And that also goes along with not just stopping too early, but make sure that you're doing this to a large enough audience that gives you enough data to make a solid decision. So if you're first getting started and you don't have significant traffic to your website, I would say just hold off on using this particular feature for now, because really the whole point of A/B split testing is really helping you to refine a little bit your sales messaging, your page layout, things like that, so that you can really boost your engagement. But if you're just getting started and you don't have a significant audience, sending them into two different directions may not give you enough data, enough information to make solid conclusions. So those are a few things to think about as well. And seventh is to iterate and optimize. So what I mean by that is after analyzing your results, use what you learn to improve your page and then keep testing. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you run an A/B split test and then, okay, well, this page performs better, so I'm done and we can just run that page. Sometimes optimization is an ongoing process. So that would be another thing to think about. You can play with this depending on your program and what works best for you. Okay. Now, before we dive into the actual how-to, and I share my screen and I show you inside Kajabi, I want to cover just a real quick couple things that are common mistakes that you want to avoid. And as I talked about a second ago, the first one is ending your test too soon. It's tempting to stop a test early when you see one variation performing better. But when you set it up inside Kajabi, it asks you to set up a time frame, and you want to make sure that you wait until you have enough data for reliable results. So do your A/B split testing for the amount of time in that time frame. How long should that be? It varies depending on how much traffic you're getting to your site, whether or not you're doing a launch, for example, that has a deadline that you are working up towards. So there are a lot of variables that come into play here. So I would say here, just pick a time frame for you and then stick with it, look at the data, and then do another split test if need be, depending on the scenarios and the data that you receive. The second mistake is, as I said earlier a little bit, is testing too many variables. So stick with one or two variables per test. If you change too much at once, you'll struggle to pinpoint what's working. And the third mistake is ignoring secondary metrics. So this is a big one. While focusing on your main goal, don't forget to monitor secondary metrics like bounce rates, session duration. Session duration is a big one because it tells a bigger story. So along those lines, definitely make sure that you have your Google Analytics set up with your Kajabi account, because Google Analytics are going to give you so much more data. As much as I love Kajabi Analytics and they do give us some really good information, Google Analytics goes even deeper into different things, and one of those is session duration. It just tells a bigger story and gives us a lot more information about what is truly going on your page And other tools that you can play around with are things like Hotjar, where it'll show you where you're losing people in the page, in addition to things like the A/B split testing. All right. So that being said, let's jump on in over to Kajabi. Let me share my screen real quick here. Okay, so A/B split testing in your account will show up on landing pages. So if you go into website landing pages, you'll see at the very top is A/B split test. Now, you first have to set up your first one. And essentially in Kajabi, the way this works is you take an existing landing page and we're telling the system, okay, here is a landing page that I want to A/B split test. And in order to do that, we go over here to the three dots on the side that opens up and expands our bigger menu for that landing page. And you'll see lots of different things here. For example, like if we wanted to duplicate this page, if we want to edit the title or the URL, the SEO and sharing is under details. You're probably familiar with most of these as well. But what you'll notice now is create A/B split test. So on this particular landing page, this is an opt-in landing page for one of our lead magnets, which is the offer template. And speaking of which, if you have not opted in for this, the offer template that we have here is a very valuable tool. We use this with all of our coaching clients and our Done For You clients, because when you fill out the questions that are on our offer template, you can take that information, you can plug it into AI, and it'll help you with things like writing your sales page copy, coming up with your lead magnets, identifying the most likely lead magnet topics that your audience is likely to be interested in. There is so much valuable information that we use this as the foundation that we build everything else off of. So if you're interested in that offer template, by all means, click the description below and we'll have a link there. You can get this as a complimentary gift from us to you. So anyway, if I wanted to do an A/B split test to see what different styles might be getting better engagement, we simply click on Create A/B Split Test. Now, this is where then we have to tell the system the information that the metrics and the hypothesis and the things that I talked about earlier. So the first thing that we want to put in here is we want to tell Kajabi what is the winning metric? What are we looking for from our split test? And the options that you have here are clicks, opt-ins, conversions, and GMV. So essentially, if you're just looking at, I just want people to click, and that'll pay attention to whether there's multiple options on that landing page. I don't generally recommend that. What I use the most for A/B split testing is opt-ins. Like on this is a lead magnet page. So I want to maximize opt-ins, how many people are actually filling out the form and opting in. I also use conversions on our sales pages quite a bit. So you just decide on this one, I'm going to do opt-ins. Then we can put in here if we want to do days or hours on our split test. So this is where too, like I said earlier, depending on if you're doing this as like a ad campaign and you do a preliminary ad campaign and you want to drive traffic and see which one is performing better before you do your big ad campaign, you might want to do this in a 24-hour period. You may want to do this in 7 days because you're driving traffic on the week prior to your big launch and you want to see what kind of data you're getting on this page pre-launch to do a soft launch, so to speak. So there's a lot of different scenarios that would go into play here. And a lot of it, again, depends on how much traffic that you're anticipating to get to this page, what type of marketing that you're doing, and what is the overall marketing goal. So that's where then you would put in here how many days. So I'm just going to put in here 14 days for now. And then we're going to confirm that. And what happens then is the system then is duplicating this particular landing page and creating an A/B split test for this landing page that I have selected and created the A/B split test for. Got to wait for Kajabi to finish its. Okay, so now we have under the A/B test, under pages, you will see that we have our offer template invitation. We have A/B test. We have our original page, and then we have our copy page. Now we can go in here and we can leave this page alone or we can edit it. What I usually do is I just leave the first one. Generally speaking, you've already designed it to be pretty good from what you think it is. Then we can go into renaming our title because, we don't necessarily want to call it copy. So I'll call this offer template B. So you can just basically just make it whatever makes sense for you. And then we can just click on this and we can start editing. So we have our A and we have our B, and then we would just go in and we would maybe try a different image. Maybe we would try some different colors on our buttons and adjust what we want to do on this. And then once we've made our changes, we can set this up and then you would simply publish the test and have this ready to go and be sending this A/B split test out. And there you have it, a guide to A/B split testing with Kajabi. Remember, testing isn't a one and done process. The more you test and optimize, the better your results will be. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a video. And let me know in the comments, what are you planning to test first with this feature? I can't wait to hear about your success stories. And remember, the key to success is to embrace challenges as opportunities. Keep learning, keep growing. Bye for now.